Wow. 38, 37, 38. Somebody along with that.
Bobby, how you doing? When they sent me something out, I told him he was going wrong.
Box, look over here. All right.
Stand up between. All right, Dad.
It's okay, but I'm good. This way, double duty. You got it. Thank you very much.
And for 3 days, it's
I think you guys deserve some notoriety, and I'm going to do everything I can to help in whatever way I can. And we have some of the people from different press here that will, write up this show after the fact, and hopefully I can forward you the articles on it. There was an article, let me pick it up, a couple beautiful articles in there about everybody in this room. And I think it's starting to show that fans are starting to get involved and appreciate what you did in the past, because you definitely were pioneers for what's happened today, and people shouldn't forget that. And what we're going to do is, Robert and myself, we're going to be presenting the sets that most of you are in, but everybody tonight will get a set.
The stars like Mr. Benson, Malin Duckett, and Stanley Glenn, and their extensive knowledge with that team, and their extensive knowledge with the New York Eagles, such as Max Manning and Ray Dandridge and Leon Day. They've tuned me into certain areas and livelihoods and professional opinions and how they played and who they played with, and I've cross-examined everything they said, and I compared their notes with the other players, and if dates were wrong, I tried to clarify it by other players too. So what's Leonard on this? Sending back photos, identifying stuff, almost wearing them out on the phone like you got wore out yesterday signing stuff. So the first set I'm gonna hand deliver over to Mr. Leonard, and we're going to come.
Hey, don't stay up there. Who said that? Yeah, what's that? 2 minutes per person. Come on up here, Double Duty. Don't get a raise. Come on, Double Duty.
While you're up here, Double Duty, here's card set number 259 for you.
Thank you.
You can take over the microphone for about an hour, I'm sure.
But I would rather have an extra 100. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm so glad to be a part of this and be here with all of you. So many I haven't seen for 40 years, including Manny. And he was one of my favorite people. And I'm not going to say anything about Daniel because I don't like him. I'm going to make it brief because I'm tired and I know everybody else is tired. But I want to tell you all this like this. When I was riding in the bus, I used to sell little toasts to the people so they could live a long time like me. That's don't fool with nothing old but money, nothing big but a bankroll, nothing black but a Cadillac, if you're white, nothing but a poodle pup. And if you go out to be the young girl to have a good night, don't let her be over 20. Don't let her weigh over 120. Because you're just like Double Duty, you're getting old and your cells getting old, you need a Delco battery to boost. I'm so glad to be here. Next Saturday I'll be 89. I'm supposed to be the oldest living ball player. I know some of them out there holding back, but I'll take them on that. Because I think Mr. Herb will give me an extra 100. There's always room for money. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to tell you all something about one of my few friends here. Ray Danbridge. It hurt me so bad. They didn't put me in, but it hurt me so bad that they waited so long to put that man in the Hall of Fame. He was such a great ball player when I was coming along. I think I'm about 10 or 12 years old in there. But he was so good, we used to call him the vacuum cleaner. I thought he and Willie Wells, and when Monty Irvin would come in the league, I thought those three, along with Turkey Stone, were the four greatest ball players that I ever been associated with. And you got another man here, was a good hitter in his day. He didn't spend no money, but he could play a good ball, just a minute. Leon Day, when Leon Day came to the Brooklyn Eagles, I was the first ball player that the Eagles signed in 1935 for their team. He didn't know how to get up on the mound. He didn't know which way to go. But he came to Double Duty Studio. And I taught him how. Did I teach you how to hold them on? No. Yeah, you was my man. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to, ain't you all ready to go home? Let's go. Thank you. If you have it again next year, I'm telling you in front, since I had to talk, my pay will be double.
I guess that's what he gets the name Double Duty, huh? All right, Robert, come on up here and let's continue this. I don't know if you can follow that act.
The next set, gentleman who gave me the inspiration, a real.
They made the word clear.
You know, you're responsible for me being here after having been bitten by a scorpion and had a very badly swollen ankle. I'm just happy to be here tonight. After hearing the chairman of the board, there's not much that I can say, I tell you, because I've been around a long time, and when I get around Double Duty and listen to him tell stories about days of yesteryear, I tell you, it thrills me. And the only thing, though, you never know whether he's telling the truth or not, because if he is not, there's no way to check him out, because he's outlived everybody else. And I really applaud him for it. I tell you, he's a real treasure. Terrific baseball player, and not only that, he's a great guy. And I'm just so happy that he's finally enjoying himself and living some good, enjoying some of the good things in life. I want to first of all applaud Robert Retard and Neil Earps for what they're doing. It's wonderful. The guys really appreciate it, and we just hope that you get bigger and better. We'll support you all we can and do whatever we can to try to enhance things. I'm glad that Duty paid Dandridge his due, because Dandridge played just the way I taught him, And I want to just say hello to Wilbur Fields and Blair and Max Manning, my old roomie in college, and one of the greatest ball players I've ever seen anywhere was Leon Day. And of course, way back in 1937, I was having my first tryout in Henscliff Stadium in Patterson, and our manager then was a guy by the pitchers, but his name was W. Bell. So it was about 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and he was on the mound just throwing fastballs right down the middle, and out comes Buck Leonard and Josh Gibson. Both of them, they were roommates, so they used to come out and see what was going on. They heard that, I was really popping them. So Buck hollered out, hey, he said, hey, who's that big one? So he didn't want to know who that was, hit that ball pretty good. So Dummy Bell said, in time you'll find out. So many years later, we're playing the Grays in Columbus, Ohio, I remember. Playing with Doubleheader, we beat them the first game, we beat them the second game. And then we took them to Columbus that night, and we won, we beat Raymond Brown. So Leon told Josh, he says, hey man, he said, we got to find us another club. We've tried to beat USOC, to be honest. So I was telling the story to the commissioner. He said, Commissioner, he said, why did I tell you about beating us 3 in one game? He said, he could tell you that was the last game they won in 3 weeks. But I just, wanted to, just part of great memories. I'd love to get Dandridge up here to say a word, but he can remember nothing that ever happened. Nothing that ever happened in baseball. But I did tell him a story today, and it's a true story, and I'll just tell it to you right fast. We had a guy on the club, the name was Terrence McDuffie. Everybody remembers Terrence, right? Most everybody in here played against Terrence McDuffie. Big, tall, right-handed, pretty good pitcher, good pitcher. But he and our charter secretary never did get along, and they used to argue a lot. So one day, Eric Gillard said, McDuffie, he said, every time something comes up, you know more about it than anybody else. He said, but in actuality, you don't know anything. What are you talking about? He said, well, you're just dumb. Why are you so dumb, I don't know. He said, I'll tell you what you do. I said, if you can spell 15 for me, he said, I'll give you $5. So McDuffie said, 15? Anybody can spell 15. All right. He said, okay, give him out of the money, and I'll give him 5, you give him 5, you spell 15. So anytime you want to start, go ahead. So we must have traveled about 5 miles, and he said, well, when are you going to start, Mac? What's the matter? McDuffie said, I'm warming up. So finally he said, all right, I'm ready. I said, okay, you ready? Go ahead. He said, FIFE 5, TEN 10, give me my damn money. So we broke down, the whole bus. And I spelled it for him. He said, well, just because he's got 1 year of college, that doesn't mean his mouth is terrible. So Mac reached in his pocket and pulled out a switchblade about that long and said, the way I spelled it is the way it is. So I said, McDuffie, the money is yours. True story. Isn't it, Leon? Thank you so much.
Ray Dandridge Sr. got a street named after him in Newark, New Jersey. Am I correct about that, Ray?
Right.
And we want to honor him, number 1, for that great event yesterday, and number 2, present you with your own card set also, Ray.
Thank you.
Would you like to come up? You must be proud, and everybody else will be proud of you. Thank you. Thank you.
All that's good stuff.
I'm just writing your numbers down, gentlemen, so we make sure you get them continuous. So.
The next set, of course, goes to Mr. Bill Rady Cash and his gorgeous-looking wife. And, of course, he was a major player in the Philadelphia Stars, and I'd like both of them to come up here because I like showing her off. Bill was very instrumental in giving me an extensive history about the Philadelphia Stars, just like Mr. Benson and Stan and of course Malin did.
We're so happy to be here. Glad to be a part of this gathering.
Greatest in the business. Won 9 straight pennants in the Negro National League. In 1938, won 43 state ball games. The greatest, greatest.
I just want to thank Neil and Robert for inviting us to this reunion. And I hope this will be the first part of it because we look to the future greater than this one. And God bless you all.
Pitched with the Homestead Braves.
You know I sure
Fields roommate. I remember many situations. Both of us being about 225 pounds, between 120, 220 and 225. He would pitch, and I got the credit for his victory because they couldn't tell the difference from us. This was proven 40 years later in Pittsburgh. We went up to Pittsburgh where the Homestead Braves were honored along with the Pittsburgh Crawfords. And at that time, they honored us individually where we had to walk out to the mound just before the game played in Pittsburgh. And they said, now, here is Garnett Blair. And instead of them putting my picture up on the screen out in center field, they put his picture up there. They still got us mixed up after 40 years. But in pitching with the Homestead Braves at that time, I started, I was about 18 years old, just out of high school. And it was a thrill to play with the Homestead Braves. It was a thrill to pitch in a big league ballpark. Any youngster, any of you who got the opportunity to play in a big league ballpark, like most people, would certainly enjoy that. Anyone, I say anyone, I guess any ball player could pitch with them at that time because they had so many hitters on there. If you could hold a team under 10 or 15 runs, you could win. So it wasn't much of a problem pitching if you played with the Homestead. I said this to some of my closer friends and these teammates. How thankful of many instances that we encountered that traveling with a rigorous schedule of traveling, you could play ball. But traveling was greater than playing ball because we're fortunate that we're still here because many instances those buses were not too safe. As we look back, we think about it, but at that time, being a youngster, I was more than glad to travel around from city to city and see part of the world. But I'm sure all of us are thankful and grateful that we're still here and we are part of this. I want to thank those who are responsible for us to come to a gathering like this in a reunion. And this is something we can all cherish through the years.
Well, going back 50 years is a long time. It seems like yesterday to me. Some of the fellows I met here tonight, I didn't really know, such as Wilma Fields, Blair, and I didn't know Cash either. But it's very enjoyable to get to know these fellows because they're history. And I hope I go down with history because there were 3 years of pleasure, 3 years of hardships, and I enjoyed it though. I guess if I had to, I would do it all over again because I loved that game, baseball. And I will never forget the players that I actually competed against, such as Monty Irvin. Years ago, we were kids together playing. We were pitching against each other, playing, and I'll always say about Monty Irvin, he was such a good sport. I never saw him lose his temper, never get mad, never use profanity, and I admired him for it. So was a fellow named Roy Campanella, which is very famous too. But I didn't get to know Larry Goldie and Don Newcomb and the other players in that time. But anyhow, I got to know Sam back then. Sam and Josh Gibson and Little Carlisle and Dick Harris and several of the Homestead players. They were great. It really was the greatest ball team assembled at that particular time. And anybody that ever played against the Homestead Braves knew, not because they only had Josh, but they had a fellow named Buck Leonard. And if Josh didn't hit, Buck hit for him. the nights that Josh wasn't hitting, Buck was hitting. So you always had to contend with those tough hitters, great ball players. I would say Josh was no better hitter than Buck. And I've seen Buck play many a game against both of them. Big Walker didn't know me tonight, but that was all right, because that's many a year back. But I can name Parker, Walker, Partlow, Wellamaker, and several others. And that young man named Easterman was a fine ball player too. And I even like that little fellow named Johnny Jackson. He was great. But one of the best first basemen I must mention, I never hear anybody mention, but he was like me, he wasn't a strong hitter, but a beautiful fielder. His name was James Moore. We call him Red Moore. And I think he was out of Atlanta. But I never did find out whether he's still living or not. But he was one of the greatest fielder first basemen I ever seen. And I saw Showboat Thomas too, because I didn't play with him, they were much older than me. And one of the greatest outfielders was a fellow named Clint Thomas. I have to mention him. He was with the original Old Black Yankees. And I saw most of the old great ball players, such as Larry Brown was a great ball player. And I'd like to mention some of them that has never been mentioned before. And there was a good 50 of them that was so great. Besides Coop Papa Bell and Satchel Paige, Judy Johnson, I saw them all come to East Orange. And I had the pleasure of seeing a team come to East Orange named, it wasn't black baseball as far as these boys, but they were Indians. And Jim Thorpe led the team. It's called the Oklahoma Indians. And I was a boy about 13, and I said, I always wanted to see this guy, Jim Thorpe, because he was world known. So I
I played 7 years, but I can't understand what ever happened to all that whatever went down. I only know very few. Hank Aaron and Sam Aaron and man, it was on my heart already last night.
Come here, Leon. You gotta say a word. You got too much history. I want to take a picture with you.
There's nothing about the Green. And they both players had a good team that ride you to death and run you to death. Yeah, I think everything's been said right. Yeah. I'm glad to be here, and I hope I'm...
Can't hear you. Can't hear you. Speak in the mic.
Turn up your hair, Nate. You know,
And I want to thank everybody because I started out with the ABC and so happy to be some of the recent big ball players. All my playing days, practice was in the West.
come out of film.
Oh, you kidding?
No. Come out of film.
Come on, one big smile.
Is that cheese?
Money. Good, take a few more pictures and extras. Just keep going.
Come out of film.
Hey, I can't help that.
Carol gets some for you.
What do you say, Abby? Oh, you up, man?
George Scales with one up. Guys, something right here.
Barbara Hubert.
Barbara Hubert.
What about the...